All right, let's dive into something that's got the art world buzzing. And trust me, this one's a doozy. Bernardo Paz, the Brazilian art collector and former mining magnate, is at it again. But this time, it's not just about adding another piece to his collection or expanding Inhotim, the iconic museum he founded. No, Paz is building an entirely new museum and botanical garden right next door to Inhotim. And personally, I think this move is fascinating because it raises so many questions about legacy, ambition, and the evolving role of art institutions. Is this a continuation of his vision, or is Paz trying to outdo himself? Let's break it down. First off, the scale of this project is staggering. We're talking 311 acres, almost as large as Inhotim itself, with plans for up to 40 pavilions. What makes this really interesting is the timing. Paz stepped away from Inhotim's leadership in 2017 after a legal battle, a money laundering conviction that was later overturned. Since then, Inhotim has shifted its focus to sustainability, repurposing existing buildings instead of building new ones. So, is this new museum Paz's way of reclaiming his narrative? Or is it a genuine desire to push the boundaries of what an art space can be? From my perspective, it's probably a bit of both. One thing that immediately stands out is the estimated cost, $195 million. Now, Paz's team has called that figure exaggerated, but let's be real, this is still a massive undertaking. What many people don't realize is that Paz's wealth comes from mining, an industry with a complicated legacy in Brazil, especially in Minas Gerais, where both Inhotim and this new project are located. If you take a step back and think about it, there's a poetic tension here. A fortune built on extracting resources from the earth is now being used to create spaces that celebrate art and nature. This raises a deeper question. Can art truly redeem the environmental and social costs of industries like mining? I don't have the answer, but it's a conversation worth having. Now, let's talk about the art itself. The museum will showcase Paz's personal collection, around 3,000 pieces, alongside works by international and South American artists. The first phase includes pieces by Michael Heizer, Maria Maiolino, and Sonia Gomes. A detail I find fascinating is Paz's emphasis on unexpected encounters. He's not just building a museum. He's creating a space where art, nature, and community intersect. What this really suggests is that Paz sees art as a catalyst for connection between artists and audiences, between locals and global visitors. But here's the thing, Inhotim already does that. So what's the added value here? Is it just about scale, or is Paz trying to create something fundamentally different? Another layer to this story is the curatorial team. Alan Schwartzman, a co-founder of Inhotim, is back on board as Paz's principal art advisor. Paulo Maiotta and Fernanda Arruda, both with strong ties to the Brazilian art scene, are also part of the team. This isn't just a random assembly of experts. It's a strategic move to ensure the new museum has credibility and continuity with Paz's previous work. But here's where it gets intriguing. Inhotim is now focusing on sustainability and long-term exhibitions, while Paz's new project seems to be doubling down on expansion. Are these two institutions on a collision course, or can they coexist? Personally, I think there's room for both, but it'll be interesting to see how they differentiate themselves. Finally, let's talk about the name. The museum doesn't have an official title yet, but two possibilities have been floating around: Instituto Bernardo Paz and Museu das Árvores, Museum of Trees. If you ask me, the choice of name will say a lot about Paz's intentions. Instituto Bernardo Paz feels like a legacy play, a way to cement his name in the art world. Museu das Árvores, on the other hand, emphasizes the botanical aspect, positioning the museum as a space where nature takes center stage. Either way, it's clear that Paz is thinking about how this project will be remembered. But here's the bigger question. Will it be remembered as a bold new vision, or as a shadow of Inhotim? Only time will tell. So what do you think? Is Bernardo Paz's new museum a brilliant next chapter, or is he spreading himself too thin? Let me know in the comments. And if you take a step back and think about it, this story isn't just about one man's ambition. It's about the future of art institutions, the role of wealth in cultural preservation, and the complex relationship between humanity and the natural world. That's what makes this so much more than just another museum announcement. It's a conversation starter, and I can't wait to see where it goes.